Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters and viewers of IQRA TV. Welcome to another program of Real Talk. As I keep saying to you, the program that tries to bring you issues of the day that we talk about on a regular basis. We want to make sure that whatever we do is something that affects you on a day-to-day basis, something that you actually want to hear about, learn about, share your thoughts with us about. And that's what this program is all about on a day-to-day basis. So every week we try and bring you people from different parts of our community, from different sections of our community, Muslims and non-Muslims, to talk about issues that affect individuals on a day-to-day basis. So as usual, I try to bring here people that I think have got a lot of information, knowledge, experience to share with myself and with you as well. So today, I've got with me, and I'm really deeply grateful to him, Sirjeel Malik Sahab, who has been on my program before. And if you remember, he came here the week after Imran Khan won the election in Pakistan. He was the UK coordinator for PTI, and he was in Pakistan during the election period, helping Imran Khan become successful as a Prime Minister. And then we talked about other matters as well, but mainly around the success of Imran Khan and what the future was likely to be. Today we don't want to talk about politics. We want to talk about something else. But let me just say, Assalamu alaikum, Sirjeel sir, welcome back. Nice to have you back again. It's been quite a while. Just let me. I'm sure a lot of people will want to know this. How is Imran Sahab doing?
Well, you've got to realize that he's got a nation which is not in a very good state, as it should be, as compared to the Western countries. So the country is financially indebted, and there are some serious issues with the overall management of the country. So he is finding it quite difficult, but he's a very determined person, and I think the way he's progressing, inshallah, not in very near future, but in near future, we will see great changes in Pakistan. Already inshallah, many nations are finding Pakistan as a very good place for investment. The tourism industry is already starting to show some improvement. Wow. We are beginning to have some good relationships with the neighbors. So I think all the things, positive things are coming up, and hopefully we will have a very good Pakistan.
I think everybody said that it's going to be a very difficult task. It's not going to be an easy task.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people were fearful that he might not get the chance to do what Pakistan really needs to be done to it.
Yeah.
Inshallah, I mean, like you say, he's lasted quite well so far. He's done a good job, and inshallah, may Allah give him even more strength to try and do what I think he needs to do and what really Pakistan needs.
Yes.
And inshallah, one day when he comes to Bradford, I'm sure through your good offices, we might be able to bring him here as well and let our viewers meet him. But the reason why we're here today is you are one of the members of the Bradford community.
Yeah.
You're an accountant by trade. You have an accountancy company. You're very well connected within the community.
Yes.
You are seen as a role model by many, and you're also involved in a lot of charitable work as well that goes on, both in this country as well as in Pakistan. And one of the discussions we had after you came on this program was about your fear about young people in the Muslim community, why they seem to be going astray. Not all of them, but a small number, and those who are going astray are having an impact on the rest of the Muslim community as well. And we want to talk about what is it that we as a community need to do. Is it issues around leadership? Is it issues around Islamic education? Is it issues about role models? Is it issues about economic progression, educational progression, things like that? So today we want to share your thoughts and ideas about some of these issues. Obviously we have seen in Bradford, and I know we've spoken about this on a number of occasions in the last few weeks, but it is an issue that affects us on a day-to-day basis. Every day we hear of some of our young people getting involved in activities which does not do justice to us as a community, and more importantly to the religion of Islam, because everything that they do actually brings the name of Islam into disrepute. And that is something that I know you are passionate about. So you live in this community. We have poverty, we know that in this community. We have people under education, and I don't say deprived with Some of the young people are not getting the opportunities in education. Some are not getting the opportunities in employment. Are these factors some of the things that you're concerned about as well?
Well, to start off with, one thing is for sure that all of us must agree that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created a system in this world. No matter what we do, there will always be problems. And we as human beings, we as Muslims have a duty of trying to sort things out as much as possible, whatever our capacity is. The primary responsibility of any child lies with the parents. So the parental responsibility starts from not the day the child is born, but perhaps from the day the child is going to be born. So 9 months in the stomach of his or her mother, I think that is when you really start developing child's health, child's how they're going to think, their fitrat. So it's very important that the parents take the responsibility to start off with, and then the younger they are, unfortunately, when you have a new married couple especially, they are going through some financial constraints, they're going through some other relationship problems with their in-laws, both the husband and the wife. So that is a time they sometimes focus least on the development of the child. So that is where it all starts from.
Yeah. Is that, I mean, obviously there's a generational issues as well, I think, in some cases. So you have, the current generation, their fathers, some of them were born in this country. It's not that they are the first generation. In some cases, they're second and third generation. Right. So what is the difference? I mean, when the forefathers came in the 60s, for example, in the 50s and 60s, they came with this mindset to work very hard.
Yes, of course.
They worked in the factories. They kept this country going. They made sure that the textile mills, the engineering factories, etc., kept going. And they worked 40, 50 hours a week and kept their families going in this country, as well as supporting families back home. Why is it that the younger generation is not as much committed to working hard? It seems like they're not really interested in working as hard as the forefathers. Is that am I wrong? Is that a true perception or not?
Well, that's something that goes at a later stage. Like I said, I mean, when a child is small, that is when you really need to focus on your child's development. That is when a child is going to become intelligent, hardworking, or patient. These natural habits are developed at a very younger age. Once they grow up, as you know, at the age of 7, Prophet Muhammad said, make sure that your children read namaz, because by the age of 10 they have developed a habit. So that shows that it is very important that we develop these habits of children at a very young age. Likewise, if you want your child to be interested in education, then at a very young age, I think it would be a very good idea. I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't make the mistakes. I think I learned from the mistakes I made with my children, and that is why I would like others not to do the same. Is at a very young age develop the habits of reading, take them out to different cities in UK, for example. Unfortunately, I've known some people born and bred in this country have never even been to London or never seen London properly. So forget Oxford, or forget going to Edinburgh and other cities of this country, or to go to other countries of the world.
Why do you think that is the case? I mean, people are not ambitious. People have got no hope for the future. People don't want to explore. Why is it? Why is it that people are so insular that they don't want to explore the world out there?
I mean, I keep saying to some of my colleagues and my friends, Allama Iqbal, obviously you will know Allama Muhammad Iqbal.
Nowhere near as good as
many other leaders in the Indian subcontinent, whether it was Gandhi or whether it was Allama Iqbal or it was Quaid-e-Azam, whoever it was. They traveled hundreds of miles, thousands of miles in ships and in very difficult situations to UK to get educated. They had the value of education. Unfortunately, our children in this country have got everything free. We have got everything free, so we don't value it as much, whether it is education, whether it is the NHS, and that is why we don't really like to invest our time, our effort, and our money on education. And that is why you see that our children sometimes end up not doing very well because they don't have that ambition.
But I mean, that drive comes from the parents.
Yes.
It should come from the parents.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there are exceptions where parents come from a very poor background, and this happens in every community. You know, people have grown up on council estates, and gone to, you know, ordinary basics, secondary school or primary school, state education, but then gone out of that and become something of made something of themselves.
Yes. Yes.
Do you think that our parents, particularly in the Muslim, Pakistani, Asian community, don't have that drive for their children?
Yes, like I said, I mean, the initial, I keep on going back to the same thing. To me, that is very important. Parents are the ones who are going to develop this idea in a child's mind that you need to get somewhere. You know, it's about education, it's about being educated, it's about being a responsible citizen. You can't do things illegally, you can't do things wrong, you have to be a good citizen, a good Muslim, and the mothers play the most important role.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, and that is why either it is a Muslim religion or any other religion, they will all stress on the same thing, that mothers are the ones who actually make a good nation. So really that is where it starts from, and then we go onwards. Then comes the environment, the community, your fellow friends, your neighbors. Then that is also a factor which affects a child's being a good person, or probably goes into in the wrong direction.
I mean, what do you say to those parents who, as parents, they're mashallah very good, wo namazi hain, they're praying namaz, they're doing everything right, they're good role models, good citizens, etc. But then their children go out there in the environment, as you mentioned, mix with people, you know, who are involved in, unfortunately, criminal activity, antisocial activity, and then, you know, they get mixed into that group, and then unfortunately become like that. I mean, you know, we've seen this on a regular basis here in Bradford. We've seen young people die in some cases,
of course,
because you know, they've been involved in sort of, you know, driving very fast and getting into accidents and getting killed in that sense, you know. Do you think parents are neglecting their responsibility and duty of challenging their children to say, "Tum kya kar rahe ho? What are you doing? What are you up to? You know, why are you messing around like this?" Or do you think that parents have lost control, that they're afraid to ask the children?
It's very interesting that you use that word, parents have lost control. Yes, living in this country, parents are very much limited. I mean, children at a very young age in this country are taught at schools that they have their rights, they should think as they please, and that makes things very difficult for parents, because they feel a bit scared these days that, you know, a child might go to the school and say, my parents are not treating me very well, and it becomes a big issue for the parents. So yes, that is one of the problems, but how parents should deal with it is they have to get used to the system in this country, and that is why I will again go back to the same point. You have to focus on your child at a very young age, because if you don't do that, it will be very difficult for you to show the right path at a later stage, because by then the child has developed a habit of doing as he or she pleases. So yes, I will add this much. One thing that I have experienced in my life, there are some very good parents, and unfortunately they work very hard on their children, but the children turn out to be not very law-abiding citizens. Likewise, I've seen some parents who are not very good. I've seen parents who've never prayed in their lives, but their children turn out to be very good religious
Muslims.
people.
Yes,
so one thing that we should always remember, everything is in the hands of
Allah. Bilkul, bilkul. Yes.
So what we can do only is we can only try our best in this. While doing so, some are very unfortunate, like you mentioned, some have died in accidents, car accidents, I mean, I wouldn't want to say anything that would hurt anyone. But I mean, in a futile way, you know, we all wish that our children would live with us for as long as we live, at least. So yes, we have a duty of care towards our children, but the community and the friendship and the people outside also have a great amount of effect on you, and that is where the community work kicks in, and that is why we all need to be part of it.
Do we feel that there's still a sense of community in our Asian Muslim community? Because sometimes, I mean, I've known of incidents where if somebody's child is doing something wrong and somebody sees it, and they go and tell the parents कि हमने तुम्हारे बच्चे को देखा गलत काम कर रहा है, तो मेरे ज़माने में अगर कोई जाके बताता मेरे माँ बाप को तो मुझे पता नहीं कितने सोटे पड़ते क्या आजकल तो माँ बाप उनसे लड़ने लगते हैं कि तुम कौन है मेरे मुझे बताने वाले.
Do
you think that attitude is having a damaging effect? The parents are not taking some of these issues when they're brought to their attention as seriously as our parents and grandparents did. You know, and I know you said, you know, obviously in this country the structure is different. You know, there's this issue about, you know, equal rights, etc., which is fine. But then that leads to this possible question that are our parents, and especially mothers in this country, particularly those who came from India and Pakistan and Bangladesh, whose first language was not English, and therefore there are very little knowledge about how systems work in this country. Do you feel that they're not adequately equipped to deal with these kids, because they go to school and start speaking English, and English becomes their first language? You know, whereas in the home it may be Urdu, Punjabi, Gujarati, whatever it is. So there's a miscommunication there. Do you feel that those mothers and so fathers to a certain extent don't have the skills, right, or the wherewithal to communicate with their children in the way they might be able to do if they both spoke the same language all of the time? Is that a factor in your view?
It varies from case to case, I can only presume. We've had some cases where the other half has come from back Pakistan or India or Bangladesh. But when they come, they settle very well. At the same time, there are many cases, and I think our people have come to realize that you know, it just doesn't work sometimes, especially if there is a gap in the way you think, of the way you want to lead your life. I mean, somebody coming from another part of the world has totally a different thinking, perception about life as compared to the person who was born in this country. So yes, I think it is very important for the parents to make sure that the children are married to the right person. They have the same type of thinking, mentality, perception about life. Otherwise, more dangerous it is for the community as a whole and for the children as well. But yes, that I think if the children are born in this country and they get married, it will be a better match. And that is why my children are all, I think they're going to get married in this country.
I mean, I agree that there's got to be some compatibility, there's got to be some common understanding between them. But unfortunately, even in those cases, I'm not sure about the Pakistani community, but certainly in other communities, I know for a fact that although boys and girls are getting married to people from within this country as well, but again, I don't know, Allah ne pata nahi kya hame imtihan bhej rahe hain, even in those situations, there's been a lot of breakdown in relationships, unfortunately, you know, and that is another factor which I think is impacting on young children. So you have children with single parents, for example, you know, who are affected because they don't have a father figure or a mother figure. Mostly it's a father figure in their lives, and that, you know, the tarbiyat is obviously different. And the other factor is, Islamically, do you think that parents, regardless of whether they're born here or whether they come from abroad, do you think that they have sufficient Islamic knowledge to pass on to their children? Or is it the fact that a lot of these parents see that the madrasas It's their responsibility. हमने बच्चों को भेज दिया, अब उसको कहो कि वो मुसलमान उनको बना दे, right? 5 साल का हो गया, it's 5 years old, send him to madrasa or her to madrasa. We don't need to do anything. Let the madrasas teach them and educate them. Is that a very dangerous thought to have?
I mean, madrasas do have a responsibility, and I think I could criticize them. At the same time, I could praise them, criticize them for the fact that I believe that they should progress better. There should be better standards in madrasas than they are currently, especially in some madrasas that I have seen. But then at the same time, considering the limitations of resources they have, limitation of the cooperation they have from the parents, I think they're doing an excellent job. They are doing a wonderful job for the community, for teaching them about the Islamic values, to teaching them Arabic, teaching them the ethics of Islam. But for the parents, it's if there is any parent who would think that I'm going to send my child to madrasa and then when they come back home, I'm just going to carry on with my normal way of life, for example, not praying, for example, you know, watching the same movies or programs on TV or songs.
So the mahal in the house.
So mahal in the house, if that isn't changing, so the child after a little while will start believing, but that is a different thing. You go there. Our Maulana Sahib used to say that, you know, we go to read namaz, we put a topi on, and then when we go out, we leave our topi there and our iman as well. So you see, you don't go to madrasa just for reading and learning, but it is a practical way of life which you need to adopt when you come back home. So yes, it is very important. And it is a fact that when you go home, you need to follow up whatever you have learned at the mosque or at the madrasa. And these little guidance by parents and interest of parents to show in the religious practicality, what they learn in madrasa, you practically do it at home, that will probably make a huge difference.
So do we need to send the parents first to madrasa before they send their children to the madrasa?
Yeah, I mean, it's I wouldn't say go to madrasa, but at least get something from there. Practically do.
I mean, the schools for many, many years, I remember, maybe there's a change in the younger generation. But I remember in my days, you know, when I was a governor on a school, that when we used to have parents' evening, right, hardly any of our parents ever turned up.
It's unfortunate.
Right? Yeah. Never ever turned up.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare that the parents turned up.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we see more of their parents. These are third, fourth generation people who grew up in this country. Their children are going to school, so they turn up to the parents' evenings. And I know that in my area, where we have a madrasa, one of the largest madrasas in the country, we have nearly 800 children from the age of 5 to 13, 14. The madrasa is considered to be a gold standard because other madrasas from around the country come to see how education is imparted in this particular madrasa. And I know when they have a parents' evening, that virtually 100% turnout.
All right.
So there is a change taking place. But that is amongst those who are of religiously inclined. So those parents who are just simply saying, madrasa bhej do, we're not interested, baad mein, like you say, the mahol ghar mein is completely different.
Yeah.
Obviously there's an effect on that. So should we then have, in your view, pre the madrasa starting for children, some sort of a system where the parents are given information and knowledge about what is going to be taught in the madrasa, so they can then impart that. They can impart that in home time.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Can I just stop there? I've been told we need to go for the break, so we'll go for the break. I hope you found this conversation so far interesting. Inshallah, we'll come back in a short while. Don't go away. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.